Dana has put together a presentation about Sunday morning comic strips.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right.
That was a good segue, right? Did I do a good segue?
That was brilliant. It was brilliant.
I'm going to share screen.
Okay. Let me get in position. All right. So let me go over to the comments to see if anybody's with us on any of this.
Here, I'll move myself down there. There you go.
Just so everybody knows, 8:15. I was totally I'm a kid of the 70s, born Generation Xer, like just card carrying Generation Xer, and so definitely a kid of the 70s, squarely invested in a time where we got newspapers, we got Sunday papers, and the whole nine. And even as a kid, we wanted to partake. So these are some of my top, I believe this is five comics just over the years that I just found interesting. And I think, the cool thing about comics, I wasn't necessarily a comic book person. There was just something interesting about the short form, about these strips on Sunday.
Yeah, it's like the TikTok of comic books.
It's like the TikTok of comic books. Yes. Yeah. Love it. So what's, you got the first one up? Let's see.
Yeah.
Calvin and Hobbes. So Calvin and Hobbes follows the humorous antics of Calvin, a precocious and mischievous adventurous 6-year-old, and Hobbes, his sardonic stuffed tiger. Set in contemporary suburban United States, it depicts Calvin's frequent flights of fancy and friendship with Hobbes. It also examines Calvin's relationship with family and classmates, especially the love-hate relationship between him and his classmate Susie Durkins. And so, anyway, I just thought it was interesting. Like as a kid, I think that Hobbes was sardonic, like in his presentation. I thought that was always interesting. Let me tell you guys who the author of and I think I've always had, even though I'm not a great person, I'm not great with sarcasm or even being sardonic. Like I think that type of wit is interesting to me.
That's actually what I really loved about it. It was kind of interesting because the whole idea is he's pretty much Calvin's imaginary friend. But Calvin's imaginary friend would call him out on his bullshit, and that was Calvin would speak bullshit, and then Hobbes would be like, "Oh, are you really sure about you? You're not talking out of your ass there."
This is it was so it was developed by Bill Watterson. He was working an advertising job he detested, and then just developed used his spare time to develop this comic, and it went into syndication. He said he thought it was perhaps too adult, too literate, but when his 8-year-old son remarked, "This is Doonesbury for kids," and Doonesbury, you guys fell short of the list. Doonesbury would have, if there was a 6, Doonesbury would have been on it. He said, it was then that I suspected we had something unusual on our hands. So that's the story of Calvin and Hobbes.
By the way, Dana, I think you'd be glad to know that Hobbes continued as Calvin got older. There is a continuation cartoon called Bacon and Hobbes. Calvin and the girl from, what was her name again? The little girl. They ended up,
Susie.
Yeah, Susie. They ended up getting married and having a daughter they named Bacon. And Bacon took on Hobbes, and she talks to Hobbes now.
Really? Are you serious?
Yeah, go look up Bacon and Hobbes. I don't know if it's official. It's a very beautiful cartoon though, because Calvin knows she's talking to him. He just can't anymore.
Oh,
it's nuts.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah.
So Kathy is next. No, we're not on Kathy yet. Sorry. I'm gonna look it up like literally in real time. So Kathy was just interesting to me because I think even as a kid, other than say like Lucy, you realize that there are not a lot of comic strips about women. And again, I'm not sure, like, I love sarcasm, and I love, at least as a kid, I thought that was, sarcasm and just wit were just the thing. So Kathy is an American gag-a-day comic strip drawn by Kathy Geiswhite from 1976 until 2010. She says that comic, it was about a woman, Kathy, who struggled with the 4 basic guilt groups. And I think we can all relate to that, of life, food, love, family, and work. And obviously, in 1976, I was not at work, but we all could relate to it. The strip gently pokes fun at the lives of foibles of modern women. The strip debuted in 76 and appeared in over 1,400 newspapers at its peak. And it has been compiled into more than 20 books. There were 3, I don't know if I remember that there were 3 television specials that were created.
Oh, wow.
Right. And Geiswhite received the National Cartoonist Society Ribbon Award in 1992 for the strip.
Yeah, who would have known that the same face she made in most of her cartoons, right there, the stressed out face, is the same face that Belle Delphine would make to make tons of money with photos on OnlyFans. That's amazing.
That's funny. I think honestly, Kathy, if anything, is like a precursor or to. I mean, obviously, she still wouldn't be this old. Like a precursor to Auntie Acid, which I think would be an interesting, modern cartoon strip. I don't know because I don't know the origins of Auntie Acid, but she's got great memes all over the web. And I think I've always loved once Auntie Acid little expressions came into my life. Maybe that's why I like them so much. So initially, the strip was based largely on Guy White's own life as a woman. And they felt that it would make the strip, the syndicate felt that it would make the strip more relatable if the character's name was the same as hers, and it would help people to know that she was a real woman and all that kind of stuff. So just kind of based on her own life and I guess I'm grateful because again, as a kid at that time, I think this is probably our only female. I mean, besides Lucy, and Lucy was a kid like us, so it wasn't the same thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, what we got next? I know our time is.
We got a cat that hates Mondays, even though he doesn't have a job.
So this is just a fan favorite. I can't honestly say I put it on We Love because I can't honestly say that it was one that I necessarily loved. Although, again, sardonic, sarcastic, full of wit, full of all the things, just mocking, whatever. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. And so, and obviously Garfield is iconic. They went on to make movies. Garfield. I think of all of the ones that I've listed here, besides the Peanuts and which we'll talk about in a second. Went on to have a large shelf life. I can't talk shelf life. Yeah. I had to narrate something today, and I was like, "Oh my god, I couldn't." I felt like my tongue was all over the place. But let me see. Garfield is an American comic strip created by Jim Davis, also originally published in 1976. I guess 76 was a big year. I mean, just to even set the stage, that was the year of American independence, and it was an iconic year for me. I would have been turning 9 years old, but it was a huge time in our country because we were this big deal about celebrating that we were 200 years away from out of, as an independent nation. And that was just a big deal. So it's interesting to me that of these, the two of these are created the same year, and I think there was just kind of a bursting, at the seam of just thought. But anyway, Garfield chronicles the life of the title character, by John Arbuckle. His human, I mean, not by John Arbuckle, but John Arbuckle's owner and Odie the dog. And that's
kicks
about
Odie's ass.
Huh?
He kicks Odie's ass.
Right.
So there's another subreddit I really like. I think Dana, I don't think you would like it. I think Stefan would like it a lot. It's called I'm Sorry, John. And basically it's a bunch of dark cartoons where John is controlled by his puppet master, Garfield, who is actually a Cthulhu-like demon. But they draw like Garfield but mixed with like demon stuff, and it's just some of it's super dark and really disturbing. You go, okay, I don't need to see that thing again. But some of it's just goofy, funny. But it's all based on the idea that John only exists because Garfield lets him.
Does he still eat lasagna in that though? Does he still eat lasagna in that?
You know what, they mention it, but there's other stuff. But anyway, if you're into that.
That's one of my favorite traits of Garfield. He loves lasagna.
So that's interesting because again,
it went too fast.
So really fast on Jim Davis. Jim Davis actually was assisted T.K. Ryan's Tumbleweeds. He was an assistant, and I remember the cartoon. I remember that strip too, Tumbleweeds. He actually created a strip called Norm Nat, but it wasn't successful, and he realized that people were not as obsessed with bugs as other things, and he felt like dogs were already getting a great PR job, and he thought, what would it be like if I looked at a cat? And he grew up on a farm with 25 cats, and that's how Garfield is a cat as opposed to a dog.
Grew up on a farm with 25 cats.
Right.
And Bill Murray voiced Garfield in the live action movies.
Yeah, don't remind him.
Don't remind. Hey man, he still got paid. He didn't need the money.
Wait, wasn't Jason what's his name from Mallrats, like John in those? I
believe so. I think so.
Anyway.
Mallrats, Kevin Smith in the building.
Yes.
And then now we have the Boondocks.
Number 2. So this is obviously this one does not have a what a 40, 76, 50 year history.
Yeah.
But what it has, of course, what it brought to the imagination of the world or the country is, cartoon of, full of a total different culture. And so gotta love Boondocks, period. Gotta love, I don't even know where to begin. You can say all things. I loved it. I waited and I was grown up years old when Boondocks came out. So it wasn't something that I could say this happened in my childhood. It was just that, we had basically all black cartoon. It's like anything else. Oh my God.
Now, did the comic strip, I don't remember the comic strip fused with anime, or if it was just the cartoon from Adult Swim that fused the Boondocks with anime in the style.
Possible.
So, the illustrator is Magruder. Why is his name all of a sudden? And we were just talking about this last week. When you say fused with anime, are you just referring to
art style?
The style of animation that they did for the Adult Swim. They actually fused it with anime. I mean, it wasn't complete anime style, but if you look at it, they did a lot of the frame rates and a lot of the movement like it. It was pretty neat.
Well, first, I do know what anime is. Thank you.
Okay.
It's interesting that that's brought up because I never and even before I had a child, I knew what it was, but my son is deep into it. Like, I've never even looked at it as coming under the style, but in terms of the shooting, maybe, but in terms of the cartoon, this is just Aaron Magruder. There it is, Aaron Magruder. And so let's just talk about it for a split second. The original Boondocks, not the television show, sorry. The cartoon, it aired it aired on Adult Swim in 2005. But I remember the cartoon existed. Why is my research? I had all this together and now all of a sudden it's falling apart. Why?
I didn't know if talk again.
So I don't know why it keeps falling apart. Sorry, you guys. Cartoon strip. I just remember I was living in DC at the time, and we were just really excited about what was happening. That I think I can't stress enough that it existed, and what that and somebody getting something out there, because obviously we know that there are icons of color in the comic book world thanks to Marvel. Anyway, so it wasn't that, but I think it was just this idea that they weren't superheroes, that they were these people, and so that was very cool. So written originally by Aaron Magruder, and it came out in 1996, so 10 years, almost 10 years before it came to television. So it was printed in the monthly hip hop magazine The Source in the beginning. Started out in 1997, and then it gained popularity as a comic strip. Now that's something I had no idea. I didn't know it started out.
I didn't know that.
Didn't know that either. And so picked up by the Universal Press Syndicate and made its national debut in 1999. And so it, again, the Boondocks, and this is the word, satirizes African American culture and American politics, as seen through the eyes of, I think what happened with the TV show is probably far more exciting to most than the cartoon, because we've got Regina King, who is now one of our potentially a great Oscar contender. I can't recall. I think she did get a Golden Globe nomination for her current film. But I think that was also, again, the excitement around the TV show, that she was voicing two characters. I think it was just exciting that, this woman was voicing these two characters.
Also, Grandpa was John Witherspoon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Rest in peace. One of my favorite actors.
Yeah, for sure.
Gotta love that voice.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Totally missed.
Boomerang with Eddie Murphy, man. Coordinate. You got to coordinate.
Got to coordinate. And so it takes place in Chicago, and of course, obviously the name, he's named after Huey Newton, and all that good stuff. So just, but as far as there isn't it's definitely the visibility of anime in terms of, I think, even the influence of the art. But I guess I've just never, in my head, we were just excited. And I would say this though, Dan, I knew more. I didn't know about anime until probably after the cartoon strip, like, if that makes sense. Like, so the strip was, hit in 99. So I probably was, but in my mind, I just didn't even really see the link, but it's clearly.
I think in my memory, I think they just added they decided to do it with an anime style to add a little something, more to fit the slot. Mm-hmm. And they did a pretty good job at it. Sure.
So the other thing is too, it says here that no, that's on Instagram. I was trying to just see if there were any, but I think and that is obviously too, anime is an incredibly popular style of modern modern animation. I mean, you have, obviously we all have 8:30. I'm just watching the time. We have the basic stuff. We all have
that's our clock, everybody, for the audience. And you now know.
Right. In case you know. So anyway, it was just exciting, like just exciting stuff. So I put it, so it's right up there. But I think, who's I think, and we're all who isn't still hoping for some type of revival. We don't know what they're going to do without John Witherspoon, but there's been some effort to revive it on Instagram, but it doesn't seem like
maybe even like a TV movie or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe Netflix picks it up. I mean, Netflix does need some more stuff,
right? Because it looks like they're saying that the Instagram thing was attempted in February of 2019, but it's not giving me right. Which obviously I had no idea.
I didn't know.
But it's not giving us a lot more information than that. But anyway, excited about it because this is probably one of the most modern cartoons we have, in terms of not having 40 or 50 years and capturing the imagination of, and coming along at a time where you can easily move to television, because obviously of the other cartoons, and besides Garfield getting a live action, we grew up on the Peanuts, which obviously we're about to do next, but we grew up on some of that. Kathy, I would love to see. It wasn't
obvious. You spoiled it for me. I haven't looked through this.
Okay, who in the audience thinks that the Peanuts were not going to be number one? Is there anybody in our audience who thinks that the Peanuts are not going to be number one?
Because I'm a non sequitur and a Far Side fan, but that's just me. I know I'm.
And it's possible I should not. I mean, and the honorable mentions: Far Side, Doonesbury, even Tumbleweeds. Those are all. Far Side was fun. I just remember
Ballard Street.
Okay, don't know that one.
That's the weirdest, most meta cartoon you'll ever see.
Okay, I will look it up after. So here's the thing. I don't even really know what can be said that any of us don't know. Schultz, Vince Guaraldi, captivating characters, like unforgettable, ruled our childhood. All the Christmas specials, Peanuts got all the love, like every bit of love that was available at the time of its inception. It got all the love. It got TV love. It got, I'm sure just like anything else, it got. Wow. Now this is interesting. It ran from 1950 to 2000.
Wow.
Now I have a fun fact. Something I didn't.
That's crazy.
Years.
50-year-old Peanuts. Tasty.
And so all these folks. So it got into the dailies in 1950, got into the Sundays in 52, and everything ended in 2000. That's a real run. I'm just trying to. The strip began as a daily strip on October 2nd, 1950, in 7 newspapers. The strip was 4 panels and showed Charlie Brown. Like, you guys should see some of this early artwork. It's interesting. It showed Charlie Brown walking by 2 other children, Shermie and Patty. But, anyway, Schultz decided to produce all aspects of the cartoon himself, from script to finished art to lettering. It
featured a dog with back problems that could only take care of him by laying on a house it was 2D. So, because if it was in a 3D view, it would fall off.
The biggest thing is, so the TV specials came in the 60s. That's the biggest thing. That's what I was curious about. When did the TV specials happen? So, then the Christmas one being the first one, and then from there. But anyway, you guys, I think.
Oh, there you go. Ronnie said something.
What did Ronnie say?
That's Great Pumpkin.
Yes. I was trying to get us a date on the Great Pumpkin, because I think the Christmas. I think for me, the music was and still is everything. And I did not know that Vince Guaraldi passed away so young, and Vince Guaraldi, who made the music, passed away.
Song, right?
Huh?
The theme song for the.
But I think all of it. I think that's something I'd have to just check. But the theme song, but I want to say he did. All that music.
My wife loves that music. I'm serious.
But
You
this is
just hear
someone who
do
wasn't
do do
even,
do 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 do, and she's just like, "Stop
Yeah.
it! I'm trying to do something over here."
Yeah, so he did the signature melody, but he did the holiday Christmas time is here. I was gonna say, I know he did the Christmas one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
was
so
that
he,
way about the theme to Taxi.
for his innovative compositions and arrangements, we love Bob James. Now that will be we talked about Chick Corea, but man, when Bob James is, it's time for him, that's going to be a sad day.
My favorite character is Linus, the one with the dirty blanket.
So
he's the smartest kid, and he has the anxiety issues, or he has to carry the blanket around. That's the awesome part about that. Like, I'm so smart, but I need you.
So anyway, so that's Vince Guaraldi. So interesting you mentioned Linus. He is known for their signature melody, which is Linus and Lucy, and of course Christmas Time Is Here.
Yeah.
A boy named Charlie Brown, like he did It's the Great Pumpkin. Those are, he did both all that music. So I just that's Vince Guaraldi. But just such a, I heard the story, and it's another time for another day because it's our time to talk with the ladies.
Yes.
But Charles Schultz heard Vince Guaraldi's music and was just like, he's got to do it. He's got to be our guy. Yeah. And what a great
When I hear him, I think of a bald child with two hairs.
Oh my goodness.
I think of the precursor to the Caillou show.
Oh jeez.
Right. So when you hear "Cast Your Fate to the Wind," that's what you think. I'm never sorry.
Have you ever tried to watch Caillou?
Of course, I have a child. That was
Yeah. Did you also think that Caillou's just a whiny little? He like every episode. It's like, how old is he supposed to be? He looks like he's 40. I don't know.
Here's the thing. Once I found out he was Canadian, I was like, that explains everything. It's a whole.
Wait, we have a Canadian on our show next week.
Much respect.
She will inform us on all the Canadian-ness.
I have all the respect for Canadians, all the respect for the country, all the respect for everything.